Hello, this is my latest acquisition here. It is a Wiltron 360 Vector Network Analyzer. It has a frequency range of 40 megahertz all the way up to 40 gigahertz. It is a piece of equipment that was originally designed in the late 80s, and I believe this one was new in about 1991. It was purchased by the Max Planck Institute in Germany, and somewhere around 2012 they gifted it to the University of Otago in the South Island of New Zealand. And I believe that was brought over with a German researcher that brought the analyzer over to the university, who used it for some years. But in recent years they've replaced it with a much newer, much more capable system. And so this particular instrument has been sitting in their lab, just taking up space. More recently, I purchased a Wiltron 6409 scalar network analyzer, which has a frequency range up to 2 gigahertz, much less than this. It's a smaller brother of this unit here. And when I was doing research on the background of that, I talked to the local Analyser agent. Now, Analyser bought out Wiltron in 1998, and he recalled seeing this instrument at the university in 2012, which is how I learned about it. And so I went to the university and asked if there's any way that I could get this, because I knew that it was a 35-year-old piece of equipment that they almost certainly had a replacement for. And after some correspondence and some discussions, they gifted it to me. One of the reasons why they gifted it to me is because they didn't own it. Because it was gifted to them by the Max Planck Institution, it wasn't on the university asset register. And because it wasn't a university asset, they couldn't sell it. So when someone came along like me and said, "Can I have it, please?" they said yes, because they don't need it anymore. Do I need it? No. But it was an opportunity to rescue an instrument that probably otherwise would have ended up on the e-waste. And I didn't want that. So what is the 360 made up of? Well, it's an instrument that's large enough that Wiltron made a custom 19-inch rack specifically to house this piece of equipment. And in the rack there are three major units. There is the Vector Network Analyzer itself that does all the control and all the number crunching. It's got a test set down here, which is the RF interface to the device under test, which sits on this desk. And just down here is the signal source, which generates the RF signal that is an output to the device under test. And the test set takes the output and the input, compares them to measure the phase and magnitude. So basically all this does is measure the phase and magnitude of a signal after it's been applied to a device under test. Within the rack there's a couple of drawers. There's one here for the calibration sets, and there's another drawer down below which would normally house the cables that connect the device under test to the test set, but they were missing when I got the 360. And of course I've got all the manuals, so I've got most of the manuals up here. I've got all the important ones. I've got the operations manuals and I've got the circuit diagrams. So there is a fault, I believe, on this. I've been told that it works up to a certain frequency, around about 10 gigahertz, but from about 10 gigahertz to about 40 gigahertz there's no signal. So I suspect that there is a problem with the source, and so that's something that I'll need to fix. So although this has been gifted to me, it is a gift that I have to do some work on to restore it to its full capability. And that's what I'm aiming to do. What am I going to do with a vector network analyzer that can go to 40 gigahertz? Well, I don't really know. But the challenge is to refurbish and restore this to factory new condition. And that's what I'm aiming to do, because although this is 35 years old, it's actually in remarkably good condition. And so restoring it, if I can repair it, restoring it to almost factory new condition is achievable, I believe. And if I can do that, that would be great, because if I hadn't rescued this from the university, there's a good chance that it would have ended up in e-waste, or maybe a museum where people would look at it and have no real idea of what it could do or what it does. But even today, having an instrument that goes from 40 megahertz to 40 gigahertz, that is a lot of capability. It's an old instrument, but it's still an impressive specification to it. So the next thing that I'm going to do is power it up, because I've unpacked it, I've reassembled it, but I haven't yet put power onto it. And that's going to be a bit nerve-wracking, because this instrument has been transported all the way by truck, all the way from the South Island. It's gone over the Cook Strait by sea, so it's had a bit of a rough and tumble time, even though it's been protected in a custom-built crate. And so it's going to be interesting to see if it survived the trip. But anyway, this is my latest instrument, my latest vintage instrument, the Wiltron 360 Vector Network Analyzer. Something else to add to my collection.